When we think about human evolution today, many of us immediately have a specific image in mind: the so-called March of Progress. A parade of figures leading from an ape-like creature to the modern human, ever more upright, ever more intelligent, ever better. However, this image is wrong. The history of humanity does not follow a straight line. It is a complex web of encounters, interbreeding, and parallel developments. For a long time, it was assumed that Homo sapiens was the only successful human form, the ultimate endpoint of evolution, so to speak. Today, we know that is not true. Over hundreds of thousands of years, modern humans did not live alone on Earth. Instead, they shared the planet with several other human species. Around 100,000 years ago, at least 6 different types of humans existed simultaneously, including Homo sapiens, Neanderthals, Denisovans, Homo erectus, Homo floresiensis, and Homo luzonensis. Some of these species lived in direct neighborhood, encountered one another, and did not remain strictly separate. A crucial point is that these human species interbred. Human evolution was not a competition with a single winner, but rather a network of exchange and mixing. Genetic research clearly confirms this. After scientists successfully fully reconstructed the genome of a Neanderthal, it became clear that almost all people alive today, with the exception of many populations of purely African descent, carry Neanderthal DNA within them. This means our ancestors mixed with Neanderthals, and their genetic legacy lives on in us to this day. Another major discovery was made in Siberia, in the Altai Mountains. There, scientists found a tiny bone fragment, barely larger than a pea, a finger bone. DNA analysis revealed it belonged to neither a modern human nor a Neanderthal. With that, a previously unknown human species was identified, the Denisovans. Genetic studies also reveal the relationships between these groups. The common lineage of Denisovans and Neanderthals split from the modern human line about 700,000 years ago. Around 500,000 years later, Denisovans and Neanderthals evolved separately. Yet, even this separation did not mean isolation. To this day, people with ancestry from New Guinea, Australia, carry about 3% Denisovan DNA. When Homo sapiens expanded out of Africa about 60,000 years ago, they encountered other human species in Eurasia. There were meetings between modern humans and Neanderthals, between modern humans and Denisovans, and even between Neanderthals and Denisovans. One particularly stunning find comes from the Denisova cave. A bone fragment was discovered whose DNA showed it came from a girl with a Neanderthal mother and a Denisovan father. Direct proof of different human species interbreeding. The Denisova cave itself was an important hotspot over a long period. Denisovans lived there about 250,000 years ago. Neanderthals arrived later, and both groups used the cave over a long span of time. Finally, around 45,000 years ago, Homo sapiens appeared there as well. It is highly possible that, at times, all 3 human species crossed paths in this very location. The cave was not an isolated habitat, but rather a crossroads for different human groups. Another major insight from this research is that humans have always been mobile. Genetic traces show that groups moved over vast distances. For instance, the Neanderthal lineage connected to the Denisovan girl was genetically closer to European Neanderthals than to Asian ones. This points to long-distance migrations. Migration is therefore not a modern phenomenon, but a fundamental part of human history. This leaves the question: why is Homo sapiens the only one left today? There is no single clear answer. It is likely that multiple factors played a role, including climate change, competition for resources, cultural developments, or even sheer coincidence. What is certain, however, is that the survival of Homo sapiens does not mean this species was inherently superior. Today's research paints a whole new picture of human history. Evolution is not a linear progression. Different human species lived at the same time, met, interbred, and left genetic traces that are still present in us today. Humans are not the result of a single line of development, but the product of many intersecting lines. Inside each and every one of us lies a piece of this ancient diversity.